This kind of a system, I think, will become increasingly important over the years to link people together who share the faith and strengthen them, and again, get the information out that these people need to have.
Sounds good. Well, let's get down to how much does it cost?
It is a user-supported system. We did feel that it was important to, as I said before, have a professional staff so that this really could have the firepower necessary to build up the resources and coordinate the involvement of a great many organizations, so that it really is a comprehensive resource system. So we do charge for use. Everyone who joins pays a one-time membership fee of $25. You just pay that once. And then you choose an ongoing subscription plan. And right now we have two plans. One, you can choose a standard plan, which is $9.95 per month, and that gives you up to 2 hours per month online. And if you go over that, you have to pay an additional amount per hour. Or if you think you'll be a heavy user of the system, you can take the unlimited usage plan. For $19.95 a month, you can have unlimited time on the system. Both of those fees, incidentally, can be paid on an annual basis, which does save some money. But we recommend that people start on a monthly basis and not take the annual plunge until they're sure this is something that they expect to be using over the long term.
And I guess the prices are comparable to another communications network.
Not too far off. The prices of communications keep coming down.
The more people use them?
Exactly. If you're on CompuServe, for example, you have 1.5 million users, so they have great economies of scale there. And the other services are somewhat smaller, but still, Prodigy is over 1 million. America Online is 1/2 to 3/4 of a million. Now, obviously, we're not that large, having been around only a short time and being exclusively devoted to Catholic concerns. But the monthly subscription fee is really only a couple of dollars a month higher, depending upon which service you're comparing it to. So it is, while not quite as inexpensive, it is in the same range, and I think most people who are interested in having access to this kind of information would be able to afford to do it.
I'm wondering if you could foresee in the future, as far as when you go international and so forth, will people, if I understand you correctly, people will be able to get information from overseas, and
That's
they
correct.
could roam and
Yes.
Austria and so
Yes,
forth like
and in
that?
fact, the news feed from the Vatican Information Service comes from the Vatican every day. It's delivered to us over the internet. And right now we don't have a full internet connection. We do exchange mail minute by minute with the internet, but you can't actually, if you're on the internet, you can't actually go on to our system and start browsing around, although you could send us a message. We see the internet as probably the means to facilitate inexpensive overseas access. Unfortunately, right now it costs about $1 a minute for somebody to dial in from overseas, and we do have probably a score of international members, Australia, Norway, England and Ireland, of course quite a few more than that in Canada, where the rates are more similar to those in the United States. But the internet is growing so rapidly that there are internet service providers who will rent time on the internet for maybe $10 an hour now in most countries. So when we hope to implement a full-fledged internet connection within 6 months to 12 months, and at that point somebody who's renting internet time in Australia will be able, for whatever that fee is, to connect to our system without paying any long-distance charges. So we see that as the solution for overseas connections.
That's great, and I'm sure this sounds too good to be true. Actually, I'm thinking of various Catholic organizations that would be really interested in this. I'm wondering, I know you said that you just started a few months in your operation, but are there any Catholic organizations already involved?
There are. In addition to the host organizations, we do have some organizations and even dioceses who are in the exploratory stages of using the system as a means, particularly for the communication of their members with each other, or of the diocese with its priests, for example. The strongest push for that at the diocesan level seems to come from the Catholic press offices. The diocesan newspapers can see this as a great transmission belt for news and information. They'll frequently, for example, get a new document from the Vatican that they need to say something about, and they'll get it maybe in a faxed form, or a printed copy will come in the diplomatic pouch from Rome. Well, about the same time as that document is released to the public officially, we'll have it online in computer form so that they can simply download it, get it on their PCs or Macs, load it into their word processors, and they can search for any word in the document and find out where it is. They can cut and paste into the articles they're writing. It makes it much faster. So there's a push to get the dioceses involved, primarily coming from the press operations. And then some organizations, as I say, are using it to communicate with their members or their customers. For example, we have Ignatius Press online, we have our Sunday Visitor online, we have the Couple to Couple League online. They're all selling materials to people who are members of the system and who can browse through their catalogs and place orders. Mm-hmm. And one other point along these lines, we do offer some really unique services. For example, we do offer spiritual counseling online. Obviously, if somebody has a spiritual problem, it's much better if they can get face-to-face counseling with a good priest, but sometimes people don't know where to go or don't feel comfortable broaching a problem face-to-face. So for those people, we offer private spiritual counseling that is only between in messages, mm-hmm. only between the counselor and the counselee. And then usually the counselor will bring that person along and guide them to somebody that they can talk to in their own area. But it's a great start for some people. We also offer canonical advice. The St. Joseph Foundation is online with a canon law forum, and if somebody thinks they have a case that could be adjudicated under canon law, they can indicate to the St. Joseph Foundation online what the nature of the case is and get a professional opinion on that case. We have a cults awareness forum, the Cults and New Age forum. If people are having trouble with a cult, they can talk to Father James Labar of the New York Archdiocese, who is the head of the Cults Awareness Office there, and he'll give them up-to-date information on the different cults and how to deprogram somebody and what should be done, perhaps if a family member has fallen under the influence of a cult. So just all kinds of special services unique to each area of the system that people can take advantage of.
It sounds very interesting. Especially, I could see the Legion of Mary using this.
Sure.
And I think it would be interesting just to use an example. For instance, with the cults, if someone had a problem with a particular cult, they could just type in information and questions about it and take it from there. What would happen?
It would work at 3 levels. A first thing that they could do is look through a series of pop-up menus. We have the text of 2 full books about different cults online, mm-hmm. all subdivided according to the names of the different cults or their leading ideas. Somebody can look through this menu of names or ideas, and they can punch a key, and up will come just the appropriate section of that book. It might be just a 5-page or a 10-page section. So they could see if the information they needed was there. Now, this is presumably someone who was not desperate for personal counseling at that point, but somebody who was just interested in getting more information at that stage. To push it one step further, they could then look for further information in the regular file libraries where we would have many more documents, and we're adding to that all the time, and they might actually transfer a document. It may be a document about a particular cult, it may be an outline of the deprogramming process, or it may be something about the legal questions that surround various cults. They could transfer that to their own PC or Mac for reading in their word processor or for printing out on their printer. And then again, along the same lines, they could post a question, and if the information they needed wasn't in the file library, they could simply ask the question in the public message discussion area of that particular forum. And the host of the forum, Father Labar, one of his associates, or maybe other members who had experience, would get back with answers. Mm-hmm. And finally, they could actually, there's a hotkey in that forum for private counseling, confidential counseling about mm-hmm. cults. They could hit that button, and right away they would be writing a message that no one else would see except Father Labar or another member of his expert cult staff. And one of those people would get back to the person and guide them then to the next step.
Sounds